Hi everyone, my name is Apuraj Garakapati. Welcome to my YouTube channel Amazing Abhai. Do you know who Sungham-woo rizzed in solo leveling? I'm serious. Jinwoo's aura has charmed some of the strongest characters in the series, so that's why we'll be giving each solo leveling character a percentage of how much Jinwoo rizzed them, starting with the ones who he rizzed the least, and working our way up to the ones who he rizzed the most. So let's get right into it with the first character, which is actually the Monarch of Destruction and Taurus with only 10% rizzed. Now how did Jinwoo rizz up his greatest enemy in the series? Simple, insane strength. When Taurus first saw Jinwoo's crazy power and tactical genius in battle, he was shocked. Seriously, the guy was so impressed, so much so in fact, that he actually offered Jinwoo a deal. He'd save humanity from extinction if Jinwoo joined him in fighting the rulers. But as you'd expect, Jinwoo said no. But even after getting rejected, Taurus couldn't help but respect Jinwoo. For the first time, he found someone who could stand toe-to-toe with him and actually be a worthy opponent. Moving all the way up to 48%, and we've got Choi Jong-in. Choi was absolutely rizzed by Jinwoo after he saved the lives of the entire Strike Squad B during the dungeon with Kargogan. On top of that, Choi had figured out that Jinwoo had even surpassed himself in strength. But don't think Choi's some random guy. Choi is known as the ultimate hunter, so when he recognized Jinwoo's power, he had to have him on his side. He even got so desperate about it that he was ready to fight with Yun-ho just to get Jinwoo to join his guild. Talking about Baek Yun-ho, and he's at 50%. Yun-ho was rizzed when he figured out that Jinwoo's power growth had no limit, so he was one of the first to really understand what made Jinwoo so terrifying. His strength had no ceiling. So when Yun-ho realized Jinwoo would just keep getting stronger, he was absolutely shocked. Like, how could anyone be that up? But it wasn't just shock, it was also pure admiration that someone could actually be that insanely strong. Now we've got Liu Jigang, the national level hunter from China, at 60%. When Jigang heard Jinwoo took down Thomas Andre, the world's strongest hunter, he had to congratulate him for putting Thomas in his place. Then, when Jinwoo went on to solo all the giants in Tokyo, Jigang was even more impressed. In fact, he was so impressed that he straight up told a Chinese reporter that Jinwoo was worlds above him in strength. He even went as far as calling anyone who doubted that a fool. So yeah, safe to say, he was absolutely rizzed by Jinwoo's power. At 70%, we've got another national level hunter, Thomas Andre. As I said, Jinwoo straight up beat Thomas's ass. But here's the thing, this is actually how Jinwoo rizzed him. What do you mean? Well, during their fight, Thomas was shocked that Jinwoo was strong enough to make him bleed. Because remember, Thomas is actually the strongest hunter in the world. So Thomas got excited to fight someone who could actually challenge him. And on top of that, Jinwoo didn't kill him or harm his guild members. So after the fight, Thomas was so impressed that he took Jinwoo out for dinner and even gave him a dagger as a gift. So now you understand why Thomas is at 70%. Now we've got Han Same at 72%. During the Hunters Guild arc, when Kargulgan and the High Orcs demanded the Strike Squad to come and face Kargulgan, Kaihun told Jinwoo to run and escape once they started fighting. So Semi, thinking it was all over, handed Jinwoo a book with her will, making sure her last wishes would get to her family. But before we move ahead, please take a second to like on this video. A like tells me that you enjoyed this topic. Your support helps Amazing Abhai grow naturally. Come on, it's Jinwoo we're talking about. He and his shadows absolutely obliterated Kargulgan and his orcs. So when the raid wrapped up and he was leaving with Jin Chul, Jinwoo casually walked up to Semi and handed her will back. And the way she blushed and giggled, yeah, that's ultimate rizz right there. My guy destroyed the dungeon boss and then returned her will like it was nothing. Next up we've got Park Hee-jin at 75%. During the Red Gate incident, she saw firsthand just how insane Jinwoo's power was. This dude literally caught an ice elf's arrow mid-air like it was nothing. Meanwhile, Kim Chul, an A-rank hunter, didn't even notice them. That's when Park knew Jinwoo was built different and decided to stick with him, knowing he was way stronger than even an A-rank hunter. So after Jinwoo saved her by beating Baruka, yeah, she was definitely rizzed by our boy. Moving on, we've got Yu Soo-yeon at 80%. Soo-yeon got completely rizzed by Jinwoo's S-rank hunter status. Because when Jinwoo and Jinho were looking for a non-hunter to join the Ajin Guild, Jinho hit up his cousin Soo-yeon since she fit the criteria perfectly. At first, she wasn't having it. She thought Jinho was trying to pull her into some shady scam, but then she found out who she'd be working with. The moment she realized it was the Sung Jinwoo, her attitude did a full 180. Not only did she instantly agree to join, but she was hyped about it. She even asked Jinwoo if they could take a selfie together to flex on Instagram. And since both of them were basically celebrities, Jinwoo as the strongest hunter and Soo-yeon as a famous actress, her post went viral instantly. Anyway, just hearing that she would work with Jinwoo, she was hyped. Now we've got Igris at 82%. Even before becoming Jinwoo's right-hand man as a shadow, Igris had already been rizzed, because back in the job change request dungeon, Igris straight up wrecked Jinwoo in their fight. But when Jinwoo turned the tables and actually defeated him, that's when Igris started to respect him. Igris saw just how strong Jinwoo was and recognized him as someone worthy of following and serving, and from that moment on, he became Jinwoo's most loyal shadow, always by his side, ready to throw hands at any moment's notice. Having mentioned this character before, let's now talk about Jinho, as he's got 84%. Not only did Jinwoo save Jinho against both Buryura and Hwang Dong-suk squad, but he helped him clear dungeons as well, which, to be fair, also helps Jinwoo level up faster. And after everything they went through, Jinho straight up told Jinwoo that he saw him as his actual older brother. And when Jinwoo responded that he saw Jinho as his little bro too, yeah, that meant everything to him. So yeah, as much as Jinwoo has had his back, it's no surprise that Jinho's at 84%. Next up, the hospital nurse is at 86%. After Jinwoo came into the hospital as a weak E-rank hunter, he started doing the Saitama workout thanks to the system, and he quickly transformed into a chiseled beast. And let me tell you, the hospital nurses absolutely noticed this. They were. Before we move ahead, please take a second to share on this video. Sharing helps this video reach friends who may also enjoy anime, gaming, travel, cricket, chess, career basics, or personal stories. Your support helps Amazing Abhi grow naturally. Blushing, whispering, and straight up thirsting over him. One of them even tried to get his number, because she thought he was cute. And here's a fun fact. In the light novel, that nurse actually texted him 3 times before finally giving up when he never responded. But hey, can you blame him? My guy was too busy leveling up to check his messages. Now, let's talk about Lee Joo-hee with 88%. But here's the twist. Joo-hee is one of the only people on this list who actually wasn't rizzed by Jinwoo's overpowered strength. Nope, she actually fell for him back when he was still the weakest hunter alive. Yeah, you heard that right. Jinwoo literally rizzed her up by getting beat up by monsters. Because Joo-hee admired his courage, seeing how he always threw himself into danger to protect others even when he could barely take down a goblin. But you'd think she'd be even more into him after his glow up, right? Wrong. His overwhelming strength actually scared her. After surviving the double dungeon and prisoner's gate, she was so traumatized she had to leave being a hunter altogether. So yeah, Joo-hee dipped. But what do you guys think? Should Jinwoo have ended up with her instead of Chao? Let me know in the comments. Moving up to a massive 92%, we've got Ashbourne. Jinwoo rizzed up the literal shadow monarch himself just by refusing to die. No, seriously. Despite being pathetically weak at the start and nearly dying in every raid he was in, Jinwoo somehow always managed to survive. And he kept pushing forward, risking his life again and again for his family. And that insane determination left a huge impression on Ashbourne. He saw Jinwoo as someone worthy of inheriting his powers, someone strong enough to carry on his legacy, and ultimately made him the next Shadow Monarch. And yeah, that is a massive decision by Ashbourne, so he was absolutely rizzed by Jinwoo. Now, we've got Essel Raideru at 98%. She was literally powerless against Jinwoo's aura in the Demon Castle. When they first met on the 80th floor, Jinwoo completely wiped out her demon knights and was very close to killing her too, until she begged for mercy and he spared her. They then traveled through the demon castle together, and Jinwoo's insane strength blew her away. And when demons kept coming after Essel, Jinwoo always stepped in to protect her. After he then defeated Baron on the 100th floor, Essel's entire clan was safe and at the top of the demon castle, all thanks to Jinwoo. So she was beyond grateful and had caught feelings for him, not only for his insane strength, but also because he saved her and looked after her throughout the demon castle. She then wanted him to stay and feast with her and her clan to celebrate. But when Jinwoo suddenly vanished using shadow exchange, she was just left there, confused and low-key heartbroken. Next up, we've got another 98% rizz character, Go Gun. Why? Well, his heart literally starts racing whenever he thinks about Jinwoo. If that's not getting rizzed, I don't know what is. But let's break it down. Gun's an old man. Before we move ahead, please take a second to like on this video. A like tells me that you enjoyed this topic. Your support helps Amazing Pi grow naturally and with heart problems, which is why he's not out there fighting monsters anymore. But if he was, even at his age, he's still one of the strongest hunters in the world. The thing is, whenever he gets too hyped or agitated, his heart goes wild. And guess what? Jinwoo's strength does exactly that to him. Seeing Jinwoo reminds him of his prime, and on top of that, he knows Jinwoo is Korea's strongest hunter, so yeah, his heart's not just beating fast for nothing. At 99% we've got Hang Songyi, and honestly, this image right here speaks for itself, right? After her intense near-death experience during the Red Gate incident, Jinwoo stepped in and saved her life. And that's when she started seeing Jinwoo in a whole new light. No longer calling him Mr. She switched to calling him by his first name, and yeah, she's now got a massive crush on him. To top it all off, she even went back to high school to finish her education just because Jinwoo encouraged her to do so. But yeah, she's still in high school, so Jinwoo sees her more like a little sister than anything else. Still, her feelings for him are pretty obvious. And oh, shout out all the other girls at Jin's school as they were all crushing over him instantly. Because, well, Woo just has that. What can I say? Now we've got Jinwoo's future wife, Cha Hien, and of course, she's sitting at a full 100%. Now, Cha was literally rizzed by Jinwoo's smell. Sounds weird, but hear me out. Cha has this crazy sensitivity to the smell of mana, which all hunters and monsters have, and Jinwoo was the first ever hunter whose mana actually smelled good to her. So that instantly caught her attention. But it wasn't just the smell. Later on, when she saw how strong he was after he completely wrecked Kargogan, she was seriously impressed by his strength. Oh, and she even asked her friend if she looked weird to Jinwoo as she was holding a pickaxe. And yeah, Rizwoo teased her about this later. But yeah, at first she was just curious. But when she realized he had actually saved her life during the Jeju Island raid as well, that curiosity turned into real feelings. So Chahai was absolutely fully rizzed by our boy. Alright, now we've got one character left who is rizzed beyond even 100%. Can you guess who it is? Well, it's of course Beru. Who's at infinite percent? Like, Beru literally worships Jinwoo, and he actually cries out of admiration for his master in battle because he thinks he's just that strong. He even calls Jinwoo your majesty, because to him, Jinwoo isn't just a master. He's a god. Seriously, Beru sees Jinwoo as the absolute peak of power, and he's ready to follow him to the ends of the earth. I don't think I really need to say much more than that. To be rude, Jinwoo is literally everything, so yeah, he's got to be at infinite percent rizzed. How much has Jinwoo rizzed you? Well, give me a comment down below. Thanks for watching and watch this video next. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to Amazing Pi. Subscribing makes sure you do not miss the next video, and it gives me motivation to keep improving the quality of every upload. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.